everybody, it's the Bull Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be discussing some of the crazy lineups that we might see from the Chicago Bulls throughout multiple games of the season. Now, at the end of the day, we talked about a lot last year, the experiments the Chicago Bulls needed to make, and unfortunately we saw a little bit more stagnation than we probably would have liked as a team, and that kind of reflected in how teams read us and how we actually played towards the end of the season as well. We played a little bit too much of the same style, a little bit too much of the same rotations and stuff like that. And although it could be very important to have set rotations, have set minutes and everything of that nature, sometimes depending on game to game, you would like to see a little bit of those experiments, especially in the regular season when there is a lot of time to experiment with your team. There are some crazy lineups that you might be able to see that could potentially work on occasion for the Chicago Bulls. So this video will kind of be talking about that and what lineups I could potentially see the Chicago Bulls seeing throughout the course of the year. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the lineups that I'm going to predict to you today. Some of them are not going to be all starting five. For example, I think maybe a Vucevic and Andre Drummond partnership, they could potentially be playing together. Maybe it's a partnership. Maybe it's, again, a multitude of guards. That would be very important for the Chicago Bulls as well, since we do like to play three-guard lineups a lot of the time, whether it's big ball or small ball and things of that nature. I do feel like it's important to discuss as many of the lineups, whether it's weird or very, very, I guess, common for the Chicago Bulls as possible. So we'll get started. I think in terms of, as I mentioned before, Nikola Vucevic and Andre Drummond, I think that's the first one I would turn to, because we had a lot of arguments about whether or not Tristan Thompson and Nikola Vucevic can play together. And we actually saw that partnership didn't necessarily work out, even though it was a lot less of it was limited time with that partnership. So they probably could have got working together in all honesty, but unfortunately with little time, not enough games played together, that partnership never really worked out. So now the question turns, with having Andre Drummond for pretty much the entire season for the Chicago Bulls now, could we see a partnership with Vucevic and Drummond play a factor? Now, again, this is going to be, in my opinion, a lineup, if we were to ever see it, it would be against unique opposition. It wouldn't be a main lineup that we turn to for assistance, because with Andre Drummond and Nikola Vucevic, you do see weaknesses in terms of the defensive end. There are liabilities there. Whoever is going to be guarding the perimeter, I don't think will always do a very good job. Whether it's Andre Drummond or Nikola Vucevic, they're both not really perimeter-centric guys on the defensive end. They're going to be guys that feel welcomed and, I guess, comfortable in the paint. So putting Vucevic out in the three-point line won't necessarily do us any good, and neither will, I guess, Andre Drummond either. So whoever you put as that power forward on the defensive end, I think they would struggle. So it'd be against unique teams. Last season, before Sabonis got traded, this would be the type of lineup you could potentially put. You could put an Andre Drummond on a Miles Turner, and you could potentially put a Nikola Vucevic on Sabonis. That's what we were kind of doing already without him. We would put someone on Miles Turner, but would put Sabonis on Nikola Vucevic. Those would be guarding each other all night, and they're kind of, you know, it was kind of like a battle. They dueled each other, and at the end of the day, Vucevic won some games, Sabonis won some games. So it'd be in that sort of lineup where you're versing two bigs already, you'd put two bigs in the lineup. I think it's just to match the opposition. I wouldn't necessarily say we should be going and using that experiment all the time. It'd be something I'd like to see us test out, because if you're versing the Bucks again, for example, the Bucks played three centers, the Cavs played three centers as well. So having Andre Drummond and Vucevic on the same team from time to time, playing in the same rotation, it could work. It could work very well. Maybe we will see it. But it would have to be against unique teams. I wouldn't put that lineup against the Warriors. I wouldn't put that lineup against the Suns. I wouldn't put that lineup against most of the Eastern Conference team. I wouldn't put that lineup against maybe a Miami Heat who play small ball. I think we can match those teams. Maybe we can go bigger if we want to use certain advantages. But that partnership, I think it would have to be a restricted partnership. I wouldn't want to see that every game, unless, of course, we have so many injuries that that's what we're forced to see. Looking at the three-guard combos, ladies and gentlemen, we could have a variety of three-guard combinations on this team. Some of the weirdest ones I would like to talk about, or honesty, is a lineup between Goran Dragic, Alex Caruso, and Zach LaVine. This, in my opinion, is a partnership that I feel not many people will be talking about because I don't know how often we will see it. But in terms of the balance of that 3-combo lineup, I think that's as good as you get. So obviously, DeMar DeRozan is someone that maybe could play that power forward from that position, or again, it could be in a certain rotation where DeMar's on the bench and things like that. You bring Zach LaVine on. The partnership of Goran Dragic and Alex Caruso, I think, is a great partnership. One's a true veteran point guard that has the ability to calm the offense down, make the right plays, be a true point guard. You got Alex Caruso on the other side of things doing absolutely everything he can in terms of the offense and the defensive side of the ball, being an absolute nuisance in every sense of the word. He'll be cutting left, right, and center. He'll be doing a lot of great things. And then you got the guard in Zach LaVine that is going to be the offensive guy, probably the main scorer, the pure scorer. The guy is very talented and can make shots look easy for him. That 3-guard combination, in my opinion, is going to be very, very deadly for the Chicago Bulls. Now, it's not going to be a starting combination because you still got DeMar DeRozan. You're going to see Patrick Williams start as well. They won't be starting together, but if that's like a second quarter or a third quarter rotation where we get those minutes and those guys playing together, I honestly think that could be a lineup that we turn to towards the end of the game as well, if it does work as well as I'd like to think it would work. So very, very important there. Obviously, you've got guys like Kobe White that you could play into this factor as well. I think a 3-guard system that relates to Kobe White, if he was to get a lot of game time on this team, could potentially be a 3-guard lineup with Alex Caruso and Ayo Dosunmu. Obviously, Ayo Dosunmu probably being more of that point-centric guard. Then you've got Alex Caruso doing the same type of things, cutting, off-ball movement, on-ball movement, playmaking, defense. He does a lot of things, Alex Caruso. Then you've got Kobe White. That could be a pure scorer on the team, whether Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan is not in there. I also like the combination of a Goran Dragic and a DeMar DeRozan, just for the fact that we can see DeMar DeRozan kind of play a little bit more off-ball. I think that's one of the biggest critiques. DeMar DeRozan had to do a lot of dribbling on this team. He can do it, of course. We will probably see it throughout the course of the regular season as well. And it will work for the Chicago Bulls. Isolation will work for DeMar DeRozan. It has before, and it will again. But I think DeMar playing a little bit more off-ball will actually help him as well. The ability to maybe enter the post or be in a certain position where it's hard to double team, or you're going to have to double team very quickly. Otherwise, DeMar DeRozan can get his shot off. I feel like that is where you can see a lot more from DeMar DeRozan. Very similar to what Devin Booker does as well. Devin Booker enters the post like he's Kobe Bryant from time to time, and he tries to shoot those fadeaway shots. If Devin Booker could do that, I'm fairly certain DeMar could do that because he's one of the best mid-range shooters in the game, and I'd like to see that a little bit more. And I think that partnership with DeMar and Goran Dragic can work, just like if Lonzo was healthy, Lonzo and DeMar I think can work as well. So there's a lot of crazy lineups, a lot of crazy rotations. I also feel like if you want to go all out defensive or all out small ball, you could potentially see a lineup where you see guys like Alex Caruso, Ayo Dosunmu, Javonte Green, maybe a Derrick Jones Jr., and then a center. If you want to go all defense, that's probably your best opposition. That's probably the best lineup that you would pick, because that lineup is very energetic. Yes, it's not the best scoring lineup. You're not going to get pure scoring from any of those guys, but they're very energetic. They're going to steal the ball. They're going to switch. They're going to make it very, very hard on opposing teams to try and get past them. I think they're going to play the passing lanes very well, and you've got a very good rebounder in Andre Drummond who will get the boards as well. That's a very good defensive lineup in my eyes if we really wanted to go flat out defense and try to maintain a lead or try to get some stops. That's the lineup that you turn to. If you want to go for a pure offensive lineup as well, if we need a bucket at the end of the game, you go to guys like Zach LaVine and DeMar, of course. You go to guys like Kobe White. You go to guys like Nikola Vucevic. Hopefully Patrick Williams will be involved in that as well. And if Lonzo Ball's healthy, him as well. All of a sudden, you've got a very good offensive-minded lineup. Absolutely fantastic as well. So these are just some of the ideas that I guess I'm bringing to your attention about what we could potentially see for the Chicago Bulls. To sum it up, the Andre Drummond and Nikola Vucevic partnership, I think, should be done restrictedly. I don't think it should be done every game, but there are certain games where if they play big, we can match them by playing big as well, and it might be able to work out in our favor. I really think the lineup of Goran Dragic, Alex Caruso, and Zach LaVine could be a fantastic lineup to really go ahead and do. And I really think that could be a lineup that we see a lot with the Chicago Bulls team. And I hope Billy Donovan is finding ways to implement those three guys together some point during the game. Then obviously the all-defensive lineup, if you wish, even putting Kobe White and Zach LaVine's spot as well in that three-guard rotation, I think could work very well. We got a lot of I guess, balance, I would say. And that's why the depth of this team is much more important. That's why the depth of this team has improved from last season, with Goran Dragic added to the guard position, with Andre Drummond being probably a better backup center than what Tristan Thompson was. You got a little bit more depth, hopefully a little bit more talent there as well. And I'm hoping for a little bit more composure. And the lineups that we see, I think, could be very interesting. Maybe the lineups that I haven't mentioned could be the lineups that are key. Maybe a DeMar DeRozan, Patrick Williams, mid-range killing partnership from the forward positions could work as well. There are a lot of positions, a lot of partnerships, a lot of, I guess, team ball we could really be using here. So I'm excited for that. And with all that being said, I'm probably going to end this video here. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Have a wonderful and safe day, Bulls Nation. I'll see you in another Chicago Bulls video. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.